Hello, fabulous friends, fans, and superstars. Welcome to your horoscope for the week of October 18, 2020. I am your astrologer, Nadiya Shah. Thank you for being here. It is a remarkable astrological week. It is a busy astrological week as well. And what I find especially distinct about this time is that there are two segments playing out now. And it is right around Tuesday that the split occurs. Early in the week, it is as if we are resolving some of the more difficult energies that have been playing out with a moment of truth, a moment of some disappointment perhaps as well. And then we have this burst of insight, an epiphany, if you will, that helps us shift our energy, and in some cases dramatically so. And then things can get really good. And what is good is so good now. It is transformative. It is love. It is prosperity and blessings that last. So let's talk about what energies are playing out, especially as we begin the week. So it is going to be right around Thursday, though, that the sun will leave the sign of Libra and enter the sign of Scorpio. So we are going to start Scorpio season. Happy birthday to all the Scorpios out there. But it is at the beginning of the week that some of the more difficult energies that have been playing out as the sun has been moving through Libra are going to reach their peak. And that is thanks to the sun aligning with Saturn in a conversation of tension. And this is the type of alignment that astrologers call a square. And on the one hand, it can represent motivation. I like to tell my students that squares are, and I'm going to show you attitude. That's the best way I can describe them. Because on the one hand, they do motivate action, but they also can feel uncomfortable. But it is ultimately through action that we're able to not only transform things, sometimes for the better, but we're also able to learn a tremendous amount about ourselves. We get to demonstrate our own resolve. And we've had a lot of Saturn squares lately, especially in the light of the fact that we had Mercury go through this part of the sky. Mercury's retrograde, and it's going to retrograde back into the sign of Libra, and I'll talk about that in just a moment. But we also have Mars opposite the sun right now in the sign of Aries, also connecting with Saturn on and off over the course of this larger Mars retrograde season. So you might have heard me say the words reality check a few times already in the last few weeks. So here we are. The sun is going to square Saturn, and this is going to be a moment that might be uncomfortable, but is necessary. A moment of understanding the limits that we have reached, where it is that we are ready to push forward, and where it is that further sacrifice feels like it is the right choice to make, but also where it is perhaps that we've gone far enough, where it is that now we are ready to allow certain chapters or certain projects or certain efforts to come to an end so that ultimately we can more fully move forward into the future, more free of the things that have been burdensome. Now, it is going to be on the same day, less than an hour later, a connection between Neptune and Venus will perfect. These two planets will be in opposition, standing across the sky from each other. And this conversation tends to suggest some sense of uncertainty, perhaps confusion, perhaps even disappointment. And I'm so sorry to say, but that does happen. And it is going to be at this time that some of us may find even our own emotions may take somewhat of a dip at this time. So if it is that you are especially sensitive, perhaps it is on an emotional level, it doesn't always feel so steady. It is that much more important at the start of the week that you practice self-care that much more diligently. It will be a few hours later, really. All of this is happening within an 18-hour span, but the next important celestial connection to take place is going to be between Jupiter and a retrograde Mars. Now, this is part of an ongoing dance as well. Mars is retrograde right now. And this can suggest some overconfidence, yes, but also insecurity, a sense of wanting to work or fight or put an effort to improve our circumstances, and yet not really knowing necessarily the best way to direct our own energy. So again, we have this sense here of practicing self-care being of paramount importance. But then we get to Tuesday, and that is when we are going to have the turning point take place. Mercury is retrograde now in the sign of Scorpio, standing across the sky from Uranus. This is the second of three meetings that these planets are going to have as part of the larger Mercury retrograde season. The first time they connected was about 2 weeks earlier. And the next time, the third and final time that they will connect as part of Mercury retrograde season will be once we move further into November. Now, I will be here to talk about it every step of the way, as you know, but considering this is part of an ongoing dance, it also suggests an ongoing illumination. That is part of Uranus, bringing forward the truth. Mercury, of course, is information, conversation. It speaks to the news and the things that we're talking about as a collective. And then it is Mercury in the sign of Scorpio, which is also about detective work and digging into the truth. And so we should see, at least in terms of what we're talking about as a collective, further truths being eliminated that feel as if they are perhaps surprising, perhaps shocking, feels as if a light has been turned on or illuminated in some way. What was there's this word, oscuro, in Spanish, and it means what is dark or obscured becomes much more clear. And that is part of the energy that I am seeing, especially once we hit this opposition of Mercury and Uranus. But in our own personal lives as well, I feel like this is going to be a personal epiphany. Understanding more deeply our true motivations, what is really going on under the surface, perhaps in an external situation, but certainly within ourselves as well. What is it that truly has been at the root or at the core of something that we've been doing or something that we've been feeling? Once this proverbial light comes on, once this epiphany arises, you can't be the same. That's the thing with consciousness. That's the thing with awareness. Once you know, it's very hard to go back. You really can't go back. But you can continue to make sense of what is illuminated. You can reach deeper and deeper layers of understanding and meaning. You can move forward. And the great thing is that as we move forward, blessings start to be unleashed. Under the light of this opposition, Venus is going to connect with Jupiter in supreme harmony. And as we move further into the week, it is going to be Venus connecting with Pluto, Venus then at the end of the week connecting with Saturn in supreme harmony as well. So it is in Capricorn that we have this conglomerate of planets. It really is the last few weeks. It's not for that much longer that we are going to continue to have all of this energy in the sign of Capricorn. Pluto is still going to be there for a few more years, a couple more years really. But it is going to be in December that Saturn and then Jupiter are going to move out of the sign of Capricorn. And so right now, whenever it is that a planet aspects one of these three planets, it is going to aspect the others, right? It is as if that planet speaking to aspecting this, what I have been calling a conglomerate of planets in Capricorn. It isn't just isolated to one moment or one thing, but rather the energy ends up being amplified and spread out over a period of time. And that includes really good energy, right? Last week and at the very beginning of this week, it is a more tough energy. It had to do with the sun connecting in tension with this conglomerate. Now here comes Venus, supremely harmonious energy that is transformative in the most practical of ways, because Venus is in the sign of Virgo. Now, this energy can be exacting, it can be demanding. I think that was a word I heard earlier one of my students used to describe Venus in the sign of Virgo. But this energy can also be focused on the details. It asks for us to infuse love into our smallest moments. It says that love isn't an idea, a concept, an understanding, but rather love is demonstrated. Love shows up in the smallest things that we do day in and day out. And it is those very small things that we do, and especially where it is that there is an attention paid to love being demonstrated in those small moments. Well, that is where truly meaningful and lasting change can occur. The transformative part of this, well, that has to do with Pluto. The stable part of this, the long-lasting part of this, that has to do with Saturn. And the more hopeful part of this, the indulgent part of this energy, that is connected to Jupiter. So these are going to be some dominant energies that start to play out and are going to be there as we navigate through this second segment of the week. We're going to notice them that much more. Now, coming back to Mercury retrograde for a moment, I happen to think that Mercury retrograde can be really good for a whole lot of things. Yes, Mercury retrograde is thought to be a time when it isn't necessarily the best time to move forward in a brand new matter. And it certainly isn't considered a good time for things like technologies and communications. However, where it is that we thought an opportunity was gone or lost, where it is that we thought we had a chance, but then it passed us by, it is Mercury that reminds us that we can always get another shot, that there's always more opportunity. And in this way, I actually think of Mercury as sometimes associated with abundance. Now, with a week like this, with all this beautiful earth-related Venusian energy playing out, the abundance and manifestation factor, the sense of manifesting something that we can feel really good about, that we feel is a blessing in the most practical ways, well, that is that much more amplified at this time, given what is happening with this Mercury opposite Uranus. I feel like opportunities may come back. They may surprise us. They may delight us. They may feel like they've come out of nowhere. And sometimes some opportunities can be bigger than they were before, or be better suited to us as individuals than they were before. Now, all of us in at least one area of life, remember, are going to have a surprise. For some, it is going to be delightful. For others, it may be shocking. But yes, there is this sense of what we thought was either gone or it was in the ether and then it wasn't, now comes back very quickly to bless our lives in at least one area of life. The truth of what has been going on, because this is Mercury in Scorpio after all, aspected by Uranus, it is about truth being illuminated very quickly. But ultimately, it is a truth that allows us to transform and to change our circumstances, and where it is that we consciously move through change and towards change, it can be for the better. All the beautiful Venus, Pluto, Venus, Saturn energy, well, that says that change can happen and it can bring about a more positive and more joyous set of circumstances as a result. What I love about this week for us, well, look, there is a lot here. I said it is an active astrological week. There is so much happening in the sky now, but it can also be quite profound as well. Yes, it is one of the many peak moments as part of the Mars retrograde season playing out. And it is a peak moment as part of the Mercury retrograde season as well. But through all that, what I do really love about this week is that as we are at the very beginning in this heightened sense of tying up loose ends or bringing to a culmination some of the more difficult energies that have been there over the last couple of weeks, that shift, that change can happen in an instant. And as it is that we find ourselves open and welcoming in fresh energy, new ideas, new understandings, they very quickly can also translate into real opportunities for us to manifest a more harmonious set of circumstances in our individual and our collective lives as well. Well, thank you so much for watching. What do you love about this week? Let me know in the comments below. I love reading you guys. And of course, if you want to know how all these celestial events are playing out for you in your sign, log on to nadiyashah.com. Sign up to be one of my superstars. Superstars get expanded, exclusive videoscopes each and every week, unlimited access to special horoscopes and more. All of this in the superstar space. I look forward to meeting you there. We have a brand new Synchronicity University speaker series coming up. There's just about 2 weeks left to choose your own tuition rate, as low as $5 a class. A rate this low to hear speakers of this caliber is pretty unheard of, and I just love, and I'm so proud of the fact that I get to do this. I get to bring you to hear truly exceptional astrologers in the world today. I had a vision for the Synchronicity University speaker series, which was to bring together big dog astrologers, established astrologers, and future big dog astrologers, the future leaders of the astrological world, and have those future leaders have some of their first big speaking opportunities, but also to celebrate those who are successful, who are out there, who are well known. And this is a wonderful mix of people that I'm going to be presenting to you now. So here are some of the speakers that we are going to be welcoming as part of the November speaker series with Synchronicity University. Frank Clifford. So Frank Clifford is a very accomplished astrologer, a writer, a teacher, and he is certainly one of the big dogs that we know of. And he is going to be teaching on combinations of ascendant and midheaven. He's actually going to go through the possible 36 different combinations. And so it's a very practical class. You'll be able to take the information and apply it immediately, understand your own chart immediately, regardless of what level you are at in terms of your astrological studies or knowledge. You'll be able to use this course right away in a way that works for you. We also have the incredible Christopher Renstrom. Christopher Renstrom is the author of the Cosmic Calendar, and this is one of his latest successes. He's an incredibly entertaining speaker. He is one of the people, he's not quite a living legend yet because he is so young and so vibrant, but he certainly is en route. He's in alignment with becoming a living legend, and very well known, very well respected. And he is going to be speaking about his upcoming book, The Cosmic Calendar, and speaking about aligning ourselves with the sun and the phases of the sun, and how we can actually infuse an understanding, cultivating the wisdom of the cosmos, and have it benefit our lives in a really practical way. We have Zamboni Funk. Now, Zamboni is amazing. I met him, it was about a year and a half ago at the NORWAC conference, and he is so brilliant. He has such a light to him, and his astrology is just so good. He's going to be doing a talk on Look for the Helpers, and he'll actually be talking about next year in 2021, as Jupiter moves through Aquarius and Pisces, what is that going to say about the helpers that present themselves to the collective? So he's going to help us to understand this very important energy coming up in 2021 that much more. Now, Helene of Heart House Astrology, she is somebody that I just adore. I love her so much. She's been on my channel a few times. I know that you've seen her before. She's been so popular. And she's going to be teaching on a topic that I think a lot of people are really interested in, and it is about understanding family dynamics within the astrology chart, family relationships in the astrology chart. So I think that's going to be a class that a lot of people are going to benefit from. She brings such wisdom, such knowledge, such energy to her astrology. So I'm really excited to share her with you once again, because she is that good. And Adama is somebody also from Lilith Astrology that you've seen on my channel before. She has such a light. I remember she asked to interview me for a publication, and I was talking to her, and I just immediately felt that this woman just is here to do something in this lifetime. Like, you could just feel it. She's so brilliant. She's so articulate. She has such a presence, such a charisma to her. You've seen her on my channel before as well. And Adama is going to be speaking on discovering your life purpose. So more illuminating life purpose and her unique take on that in the astrology chart. I think that's going to be really exciting to explore together as well. And so we have these 5 incredible speakers, and for just, well, less than 2 weeks to go, up until the 30th of October, so just before Halloween. If you sign up just before Halloween, you get to learn from these people for as low as just $5 a class. So check out synchronicityuniversity.com. Links are in the description below. And I look forward to celebrating these incredible minds in astrology with you. I look forward to meeting you in class. And my own classes at synchronicityuniversity.com. The autumn session part 2 is right around the corner. That's going to start in November. And we are going to be doing a whole bunch of continued learning. These classes with me that are going to be taking place for the rest of the autumn season are going to include Lilith part 2. So Lilith in aspect to planets and chart points, helping you to understand Lilith in your chart that much more. We are also going to look at Mercury part 1 and 2, Mercury through the signs and houses, and then Mercury in aspect to planets and chart points. I think this is an incredibly important placement. And then we are going to have tarot for astrologers, the minor arcana part 1 and 2. This builds on the autumn session part 1, where we looked at the major arcana tarot for astrologers, part 1 and 2. Now we're going to jump into the minor arcana, and I think that's going to be a whole lot of fun as well. We're going to be looking at elements and numbers and court cards, and then we're going to go through the different minor arcana. So I think there's a real richness there to understand what we as astrologers can bring to tarot interpretation. And I hope to continue to be part of that journey with friends and fans and students out there. So if you want to learn more about the autumn session part 2, starting in November, coming up very soon, it is synchronicityuniversity.com, or click on the link in the description below. I have books. Books are back there. I have a whole bunch of books available to you. I have The Body and the Cosmos, which is me taking some of the ideas of Plato and applying them to an astrological sky. Every chapter has a sign that I explore and its connection to our spiritual selves, to our physical selves. And then I have meditations for each and every sign as well. And so The Body and the Cosmos. The second book I can tell you about is Prayers to the Sky. Now, Prayers to the Sky is like astrological magic light. It is exploring a relationship with the astrological planets. I look at the origin myths from Greek mythology to help us to understand how it is that we can cultivate a relationship with each of these planets. And then the other book I have is The Universe is Wise and Loving. This explores the nodes of the moon in astrology. It starts off with a bit of a manifesto about astrology, and then it goes into why it is that I consider the nodes so important where it comes to interpretation in the astrology chart. And then my first book, of course, was Astrology Realized. This is a beginner's guide to reading birth charts, and I hope that you enjoy that as well. And so links to my books are in the description below. And thank you so much to everybody who's continued to love and enjoy and purchase my books. Review them positively on Amazon. It all means so much to me. Thank you so much. And finally, you can get my take on your unique birth chart by checking out my partnership with Cosmogram. Link is in the description below. And so what this is a generated report, a PDF of me going through the different planetary placements in your unique birth chart and providing the interpretations as to what I think of these different planetary placements in your unique birth chart. Now, if it is that you go to the link, the Cosmogram link in the description below, you go onto the site, you can see there a sample so that you know exactly what it is that you're going to get. You can enter in your birth data, and within hours, they will email you a PDF download that you can keep and cherish forever. This was very much a labor of love, and it's got so much love from you guys, so much positive feedback. And for that, I am so incredibly grateful. Thank you for your trust. And if you want your own copy, if you haven't had one yet, check out the link in the description below. And thank you. Thank you so much for sharing a part of your sacred journey with me. Thank you so much for being here and for watching. I'm so grateful for it. It'll be a great week. Enjoy.